more or less in focus. I've got no one to focus the camera for me, and I have tried to do it with my phone. I've like held my phone up, but I don't know if that's gonna work. But if it's not, you're gonna just have to deal with it. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My tired self is here to deliver another video for a new week. Can you tell I'm tired? Can you tell I'm tired? Because I can't even string a sentence together. It's Friday and this is going up tomorrow, and it's been a long week. I've not even started term yet and I'm already like, okay, 2020 is gonna be a crazy one. But whilst I'm knee deep in essays, translations, cover letters, newspaper stuff, I thought I'd bring to you a little bit of juice, a little bit of gossip, a little bit of something different, because I was watching some Studytube videos the other day, which I don't do that often anymore, to be honest, because I'm just so busy. And I just realised, like in the comments, how many misconceptions there are about Studytube, Studytubers, and what goes on like behind the scenes. So you guys sent in your questions that you thought you wanted to know the answers to regarding Studytube and Studytubers, and I've picked a few of them, and today we're gonna spill some tea, we're gonna throw some shade, some pink lemonade, and it's gonna be fun. Obviously, I can't speak for all of the Studytubers, I'm just trying to say what I personally think is the situation, but if I've said something wrong, Studytubers, please don't kill me, I'm just doing my best. So, first question is from Dominica, who actually goes to my college. Hey. Are Studytubers really as close as they appear on social media? I don't really know how close we appear on social media. This is the thing, like when you asked this question, I was like, do we appear as close? Obviously, when we hang out, you know, like at Summer in the City, or when we like just hang out in general, you know, we are quite close. You know, I have Studytubers that I'm closer to than others just because I see them more often. So like I would say that I'm quite close to V because V lives literally there. I'm quite close to Rosie. I see Manny quite a lot and Viola, but they're like the Oxford Studytubers. But I also, you know, do talk to Eve, Jack, Ruby, Jade, but obviously they're all not in Oxford and they're all living their best lives in like San Francisco and Durham and everywhere like that, and I don't see them that often. I don't really know how close you guys think we are. I'm obviously really close with Lydia as well, but like is Lydia a Studytuber anymore? I feel like she is still a Studytuber, even though she does other stuff too. But yeah, I feel like I'm as close / not close to the Studytubers as I am with like other people. So it's not like we're all a really tight-knit bunch who are all like best mates, but we're also not like a clique that like excludes people. But we also have little groups of people that are closer than other people within the Studytube community, and that's just how it is, like how you naturally are with people. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's not like we all hate each other secretly, but we're not all best mates because we don't see each other all the time, and you know, you naturally are just closer friends with people that you see more and that you connect more with on a personal level. You get me? You get me? You get me? The next question is by Grace, and she says, do you ever feel pressured by your parents to do well? Obviously, I can't speak for every Studytuber, but personally, I had very non-pushy parents. As in, I don't think my mom has ever told me to revise. I always just kind of did it myself. And she always just found it really weird because she was like, I just didn't ever have to tell you to do your homework, you just did it, and you just sort of looked after that bit. And I worried about you in every other aspect of your life apart from your academics because I just seemed to do them. But obviously it depends on the Studytuber. I think it's important to remember that every single person on Studytube has like come from such a different background. We all come from such different households and areas of the country, and we all had such different educational experiences. Some people have been to private schools, some people have been to state schools, some people have been to grammar schools, some people live in like the south, some people live in the north, some people live in the Midlands like myself. We've all gone to different unis, you know, we have such different like childhood / teenagerhood, adolescence, that's the word, adolescence, experiences. So it's a weird one because I don't know what their parents are like, and they might not want to tell you what their parents were like because that's a personal thing, but my parents weren't pushy, no. Emily asks, who is your biggest rival in the Studytube community? I am really confused as to why. This isn't an attack at the person that asked the question, by the way, like it's just I'm genuinely confused as to why everyone thinks that there's like some sort of big secret who can do the best in Studytube rivalry between all of us, because there's just not. As in, everyone is doing their own thing and we're all like, look at you go. You know, I just don't. So when I got my exam results back, I got so many congrats from people from Studytube being like, amazing. And then when they get their exam results, I'm like, congratulations. When people have been accepted onto big internships, or they get really amazing projects like the BBC and stuff, it's like, great. One person's success does not mean your failure. So I just don't really, like, there's no rivalry, because how am I supposed to compare myself to Jack? Jack does a different degree, goes to a different place, wants different things in life. Or how am I supposed to compare myself to Ruby? You know, there's no benchmark to compare myself to another Studytuber. I'll admit that sometimes I look at things that people are doing and I'm like, wow, I really wish I could do that, but I don't wish that they couldn't. So I don't really have a rival. There's no one to rival against, because we all study different degrees. We all want to go down different career paths. Fair enough, I mean, when you're doing like GCSEs and A-levels, but even then I wasn't like, I want to get better results than the rest of the study community. I was like, I want all A stars because I want to do that for myself, and that's what I'm aiming towards. And now, especially now that most of us are at uni, especially like, you know, the OG Studytubers are all at uni or have graduated, it's like, where is the rivalry? Like, we really aren't as competitive as you guys think we are with each other. There's enough space on Studytube for all of us. How often really do you have productive days? I mean, this is such a relative question. Personally, at A-level, I had a lot more productive days than I do now. Now I'm productive in a different sense. So to give you an example, yesterday I got up at about 9. I was doing emails until 10, and then what did I do after that? Then I did some essay reading until lunchtime, and then over lunch I was sorting out my tax return. Fun. And I was doing internship applications for my year abroad, and then I had a meeting in the afternoon to organise my timetable, and then I went to the Cherwell offices, edited a video for Cherwell, the newspaper, and helped with the lay-in of the paper. And that was a productive day for me, because I, you know, did my tax return, got some letters done, did some emails, but I didn't actually do that much academic work. I did about an hour and a half of academic work. But nowadays, I really don't count my days as productive if I've done loads of academic work. For me, a productive day is how much of my to-do list have I ticked off, especially now I'm getting nearer the end of my degree, but I'm not doing my final exams. Obviously in 4th year, my final year, it will be like, my productivity is going to be measured by how much work I'm doing academically, because I want to do really well in my exams. But this year, my productivity is definitely measured by like, have I done some piano practice today? Have I done a workout today? Have I eaten healthily today? Did I make good use of my time? How long did I spend on my phone today? Did I schedule in some time for some rest? Like, that's how I measure my days. So today is going to be productive, for example. It's currently 10 AM. I got up at 8:30. I went to my tutor meeting. I went and read the newspaper in a coffee shop, and which I need to do because I'm trying to keep up with current affairs because I want to go into journalism. Then I went to another meeting about my internship for my year abroad. Now I'm here filming this video, then I'm going to edit the video, then I'm going to do some work this afternoon, and then I'm going out for my birthday tonight. So all in all, I think it's a very productive day. So depends on how you measure productive. I also have days over the holiday. Most of my days were relatively unproductive in that I did just spend a lot of the day watching Netflix on my phone, but then I don't really count that as unproductive in that I need to rest. So yeah, I feel like I'm quite a productive person, and that I've always got a to-do list every day, but some days I tick off more than others, and some days I just end up in the bar at like 8 PM and then that's it. And that's the end of the day. So also remember that for Studytube, you only see the really productive days. So you I'm not gonna vlog me just sitting and watching Netflix all day. So you don't see those days really, and that's something to remember. So we're not like having 12-hour study with me's every day, because we wouldn't be able to do that, and I don't think I could ever do that. But yeah. Amelia asks, what do Studytubers not show viewers about their day? Well, they don't show a lot of things actually, like a lot of YouTubers don't. So obviously a lot of YouTubers have like close friend stories or like private accounts or whatever, and so like their friends see, you know, parts of their day that you perhaps don't. And you know, people just post random crap on there. They don't want to show perhaps some of the more private aspects of their life. You know, some people don't choose to show relationships. If people are having like beef with someone, I don't even know, you know what I mean? Like, they don't show you the petty ins and outs of their life, because that's not something that you like share on the internet. So like, I can't really explain. You know what I mean. Anyone that's got like a private Instagram or a Finsta or a private Snapchat story knows the types of bits that you only show to certain people of your day, and it applies to the same. I'd also say that people don't really show like just the mundane bits of your day. So for example, if you look at my Instagram story on any given day, it'll probably be me in a library somewhere for a little bit, or in a coffee shop, and then might just be a nice picture of Oxford, and then it might just be me with my mates in the evening. So for all accounts and purposes, everyone's like, wow, so she spent her day studying and like looking around the beautiful Oxford city, and then she went and had some fun time with her friends, and look at her, hasn't she got lovely work-life balance? No, because what would have happened that day is I would have got up, would have sat on my phone for like half an hour, I would have procrastinated, would have gone to the library and just kept getting distracted by my phone or Facebook on my laptop, and then I would have just mooched around town. Then I would have come back, probably spent an hour and a half chatting to people, then would have made dinner, and by that point it would have been like, oh, well, that's me done for the day. So you don't see all the transition-y bits. You see the bits where we're at places doing things, but you don't see us travelling or us like just sitting and doing nothing, because why would I Snapchat myself just sitting and doing nothing? So just remember, you're seeing like the highlight points of the day rather than A to B to C. Like if you see me in London, I've had to travel to London, but you probably won't see that because I'm not just gonna live stream me sat on a train. So yeah, you know what I mean. Sarah asks, what sort of study related videos do Studytubers not like filming or editing? I think this definitely depends on the Studytuber. So for me personally, I really like Study With Me's and day in the life videos, but I don't like weekly vlogging. Some people weekly vlog and I can't do that, and I don't like that. I like doing the occasional day in the life, kind of like Lydia. Lydia does that too, and she sometimes does weekly vlogs, but she does a lot of day in the lives. I personally really like filming Q&A videos, but I do know there are some Studytubers that find them really hard to film because they would rather do videos with like voiceovers. For me personally, probably the videos that I like filming the least are revision tip videos, just because like I just feel like I'm rehashing stuff that I know in my head, so I'm kind of giving people advice, but like I know it already. Does that make sense? So like, I want to give you the advice and I want people to take the revision tips on board, but I know the revision tips, so I'm just having to tell you what I already know, and sometimes it can get a bit tedious just sitting and reading off stuff like that. But for me, yeah, I mean, it depends on the person, and it depends on, you know, what mood I'm in. So today I was going to film a revision tips video, and I was like, you know what, I actually don't want to, so I'm going to do a Q&A instead, because I find that easier to do, and I'm just more of a Q&A sort of gal. But next week's video will most likely be a revision tips video, because study videos are what this channel is all about. So yeah, ask any YouTuber, any Studytuber, and they'll say that they definitely have their favourites and least favourites. But as far as I know, like, most people do quite enjoy doing Study With Me's for many reasons, but they are quite a universally enjoyed video. Jennifer asks, have you ever failed / done really bad on something? People ask this question to Studytubers all the time, and I personally have never failed a test. Like, I've never got below the pass mark on anything, but that's just because I'm that sort of person that doesn't like to fail things. I used to do really bad at like art. I was shocking at art. Like my grades were never that good, and subjects that I didn't particularly like ICT, I was like, well, whatever. I mean, I don't need to get like the top grades, but I have always been a bit of a perfectionist in that even in my year 9 end of year exams, which were not relevant at all, because we were dropping half the subjects, I ended up doing better in the subjects that I was dropping than the subjects I was taking for GCSE, because I'm not that person that's like, oh, if the subject doesn't matter, I'm not going to prioritise it, which is actually such a toxic trait of mine, and one that I am getting better at now at uni. I'm like, if I'm not studying it for my finals, I'm not putting effort into it, but that's just because I'm now a bit more crunched for time and I don't really have time to be a perfectionist. But yeah, so I don't think I've ever failed. No, I mean, that's just like, that's not me being like, look at me, what an academic genius. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying, like, personally I haven't. I know some Studytubers have had, you know, a bad essay, or what they would deem to be a bad essay, or perhaps have got lower marks than they would like, but I know that all of them share their low points too. So like, when I didn't hand in an essay, which would technically count as a 0, right, or a fail, I told you guys, because I'm not just going to be like, look at me, Miss Perfect all the time. And I obviously get essays that are like not as good as my normal essays, or that don't answer the question, or sometimes my translation can be a bit wobbly, but I've never failed anything, no. But there's always room for new things, so maybe this year, hopefully not, but maybe. Agatha asks, do you think now you're getting older you're not going to be as relevant as a study tuber as you're not in school? No, actually. So when I was at school, I was literally panicked. I was like, oh my god, like what am I going to do when I go to uni? Am I even going to be relevant anymore? But the beauty of being at uni is that I can make university related content, because my main demographic is 18 to 24, and I can also make GCSE and A-level content because I've been there, done that, got a t-shirt. So I can now do a really nice mix of just general student life content and also exams. So not only am I helping people with their exams, I'm also giving them a look forward to helping them apply to university. So it's like a win-win situation, and I feel like as long as I'm in education, I can still make study content. Eve Cornwell's not even in education anymore, and she still is a study tuber, and that she's now showing what life is like in the working world, which is probably what I will do. I don't know what I'm going to do when I graduate in terms of like, am I going to do a master's, am I going to go straight into a job? I don't know. It will depend on what opportunities come my way, but I want to document it, and as long as you guys are watching my content, I will continue to put it out. Obviously there are only so many revision tip videos I can do, but what I can do is vlogs on my year abroad, and like what it's like to study in a foreign country, how to learn a foreign language, what it's like to apply for internships, and all of that sort of stuff. All stuff that the people who are watching me will be doing, like as I'm kind of doing it, and then people are, you know, and I think all study tubers feel the same. You have a fear of falling out of relevancy for sure, but also you know that because you're doing Studytube, if you do become irrelevant at some point because you leave education, that will be because you have gone into a full-time job. So it's fine, you know. And also I feel like Studytube, with study tubers, I personally am more invested in the person and their personal journey rather than the tips that they're giving. So for Ruby, for example, like, oh my gosh, I was like, oh my Christ, she's switching degree. And I was like, not trying to be like, oh, this is perfect advice for if I ever want to switch degrees. I was more like, holy cow, Ruby's going on like a whole new journey. And Jade gives amazing tips, but like, I was like, holy cow, Jade is moving to San Francisco. I want to know what she's up to in San Francisco. Holly is traveling around Australia. Like, all of these things. I'm more invested in not their personal lives, but just their journey. And I watch them because of them, rather than because I think that I'm getting really good tips. So even when Jack graduates, or even when Holly comes back from Australia, I'm still going to be intrigued and want to know what they're up to, regardless of whether that's specifically study academic or if it's, you know, career. Because why can't Studytube become CareerTube, you know? Nobody shows you what it's like behind the scenes. So I think it's okay. Sophie asks, how do you feel about people trying to be Studytubers like you? I think people have got this conception that like everyone in the Studytube community like doesn't want any new Studytubers, and that we're happy in our cute little bubble. That is so not true. Like, I cannot stress enough how excited I get when I see a new Studytuber pop up in my inbox recommended. Like Lucrezia, for example, is like relatively new, and I love her videos. I think they're fantastic, and there are so many new Oxford YouTubers as well, like Tolu. I think her name is Tolu. Yeah, it is Tolu. Tolu. I literally can't pronounce people's names. But they're fantastic, and I really enjoy their videos, and I enjoy their content, and there's room for everyone, and everyone has got a different experience. Everyone has got an individual experience. So no, I don't think anyone in the Studytube community ever feels threatened by a new Studytuber. If anything, we just want the community to grow, because it's a relatively new community, and one that we think it's very difficult to oversaturate because everyone has different revision techniques. So yeah. Abby asks, I think it's Abby, this is your like username, but I think it's Abby. Does filming yourself study make you work harder? Do you feel pressure to be productive? I am speaking for every Studytuber now, and I know this for a fact, that filming a study with me 9 times out of 10 makes us study more. And I know for a fact that there are many Studytubers, myself included, that will film a study with me because they need to get some work done, and they know that if they film it, they're more likely to get more work done, because you've got a camera on you and you have to document your day and you're accountable to the video, so you have to be productive or else it's not really a study with me. Everyone does it. That is honestly why most people will film a study with me. I'm just being honest here. For me personally, I love film. It's a win-win, because you guys love study with me and I study more if I do a study with me. And that is why I think we need to be careful on Studytube, because we do that, so we have our most productive days because we're filming it and because we've got the pressure of the camera, but then you guys see it as we're always having days like that and we're just filming a day. But 9 times out of 10 we will be more productive on a study with me day because we're filming it, and that just means that the room for procrastination is smaller. Does that make sense? So the days that we aren't feeling very productive, you don't see because we won't film that because we're not doing a study with me. So I do feel pressure to be productive, but also study with me's help me be productive and they help you be productive, but we also have to be careful to be clear that we're not doing that every day and that we are being more productive because we're on camera. The next question is, do you ever watch your own study with me's for motivation? I've never done this. I can't stand the sound of my own voice. I watch it back when I'm editing and I upload it, and that will be the last that I will use it. But I do watch other people study with me sometimes. M asks, do you think being a Studytuber makes you feel guiltier when you're not productive? Absolutely. I think this is one of the biggest pressures of Studytube, is that our brand, like all of us, is being productive and always moving forward and always having new things and new ventures and new parts of life and doing well academically. So when I'm having a day where I'm just sat and I'm like, I can't be bothered, I'm like, that's not very Studytube of me. Like, as if you have to be careful, because I feel like sometimes our personalities become defined by how productive we are, and in a society where that's already a thing anyway, let alone for people that are on YouTube, I have to be very careful to check myself and think I'm a normal human being and I'm gonna have days where I'm less productive than others, and just because I film my most productive days and I've created this image of, you know, productivity, doesn't mean that I have to live up to that. Sometimes I find myself guilty of, like, you know how people watch YouTubers and they only see bits of their day, so they like are holding themselves to a higher standard than that's actually there. I do that with myself, so I look back at my Instagram and stuff, I was like, wow, I was so productive, but then you forget that there's like the bits of the day where you're not being productive. So yeah, all Studytubers feel that for sure, in that because that is what we do and that's kind of how we make a living and it's kind of the basis of our content. There is definitely a pressure, I think, that becomes a bit internalized to just always be productive, even though if you have an unproductive day, no one's gonna dislike you and you don't even have to share it. But yeah. Eleanor asks, do you take your own advice? Do I? No, not honestly. I don't take it as much as I should, and I think every Studytuber is guilty of this. We all give out this advice, which we have used at some point, but the gift of retrospect is a beautiful thing. So I can give you advice about, you know, looking after your mental health or how to study productively, but I've had to learn it through trial and error, and sometimes I don't listen to my own advice. So for example, I'm like, when you're studying, put your phone away, put it in the bin, yeet it out the window. But do I do that a lot of the time? No, I have it next to me and I'll end up on Instagram. Or I'll be like, oh, make sure you're taking enough time for yourself, you're drinking a lot of water. When was the last time I drank water? I don't know. I am very guilty of not taking my own advice, and I do. I have periods where I definitely stick to it, and then I find myself slipping back into bad habits. Like, I'm not perfect. Just because I'm giving you this advice doesn't mean that I'm perfect and that I adhere to all of it all the time. It's more just tips and pointers that you can use to help you out. So no, I think a lot of Studytubers don't take their own advice, which is why you see that sometimes Studytubers, you know, we do have problems and we do have like low periods because there's a pressure to be like living up to a lot of our own advice, and nobody's perfect, and just as no viewer would ever be able to take every single piece of advice on board and practice it every day, neither can we. Izzy asks, how much work did you really do a day during A-levels? Quite a lot, if I'm honest with you, like way more than I do at uni, like significantly more. Even when I was revising for my prelims, I was doing like 6 hours a day max, usually, if that, and that was only for like 2 weeks. Whereas A-levels, bloody hell, I like started at Easter and I was doing like 6, 7, 8 hours a day. You don't need to do that much revision for your A-levels. I personally found it useful because it gave me a really good base for uni. It meant that I really understood my subjects. But I personally did about 8 hours a day, but obviously not every day. So when I was still at school, I was doing like 2, 3 hours after school, and then on the weekends I'd be doing like 6, 7, maybe, sometimes 5, sometimes 4, and sometimes I'd just take days off. But yeah, when I got into study leave, I just revised because I was like, it's now or never really. And you know, but also don't try and measure your revision in hours. Retrospectively, I can say that, I know, because I used to be very much like, I've only done 6 hours today, must do 2 more hours of revision. But like, I personally think that 6 hours a day you know, it could be way more than enough for some people, because some people, you know, can't do that much in a day. And it's not a competition of who can do as many hours. Somebody can have a way more productive 5 hours than somebody else's 9 hours. For me personally, I know that for me, I can do about 7/8 hours in a day, about 3 times a week, and retain that information, and it works. But if I'm having a day where my brain's just not cooperating, I'll do 4, I'll do 5. And that's only right near exams. That's not all year round. That is not all year. I cannot stress to you enough, that's not all year round. I did not do that all the way through my A-levels. I did it in exam season. And same for my prelims. Oh my god, when I'm at uni, I do so much less work. Like, I do like 2-3 hours a day of work maximum. Then at the weekends, when I've got an essay due, then I'll do like 12. It's really bad. But uni is just harder to manage your time. But when I was on like study leave for prelims, I had a week of study leave. I was doing like 7 hours a day, but that was because I had to, because yeah, you know what I mean? I think me saying like how much work did you really do for A-levels is difficult, because now I can look back and be like, yeah, I did 7 hours a day, but there were definitely days where I did fuck all. There were definitely days where I was really unproductive. So like overall, it's really hard to say. But yeah, I personally always had a revision timetable with about 7 slots in. But some days I do 4, some days I do 8, some days I do nothing. So it's very hard to say, and don't take my advice as in you have to do 8 hours. Do what works for you, please, because I know that other study tubers don't do it like that. Some do it in terms of to-do lists, some do it in terms of, you know, just like how much they're feeling doing that day. Everything works differently for different people. Please don't like think that you need to do 8 hours a day. Ooh, Lottie asked, do you know study tubers who have faked a good result? No. I was gonna be like, oh, here's the tea. There's literally no one that would do that. Everyone on Studytube is very open about their academic successes and their academic failures. I know for a fact that there is no one who would ever fake a good result. The reason that they wouldn't do that is because A, because they're nice people, and B, because they work really hard and they get good results because they work really hard. So they would never need to fake it, because they are all genuinely amazing, hardworking people that would never do that. And I've never faked a good result. I've never lied about my results. I'm always just 100% honest with you guys about what I get. Why would I lie? Like, what would I get out of that? Nothing really. Laura asks, do you earn more as a study tuber than you did when you were a beauty channel? Interesting. So when I first took the leap from, you know, my old channel to this one, I kind of thought that would be the end of my income at YouTube. I took the leap because I genuinely wanted to do revision content, and I thought, you know what, sod it. If I don't get money anymore, that's not why I'm doing it, and I know that I'd be happier doing study content and that it would be more helpful. But then it turns out that all of the brands very quickly cottoned on to this new Studytube situation and thought, hey, what is something that every teenager does at school? Like, that is such a big area of a demographic, because beauty, yes, some people are interested in beauty. Gaming, some people are interested in gaming. School, every teenager has to do it. So, you know, all of the study brands, you know, like stationery companies, universities, educational institutions, whatever, all very quickly waked up to the fact that online marketing was gonna really boost their platforms, and that meant that now, ironically, there is more money for me in Studytube than there was in beauty. Obviously, I don't have a massive channel with like 1 million subscribers, and I imagine that there's even more money in beauty for people like that who are getting like thousands and thousands of pounds. But it helps me out, it helps my uni costs, it helps me save money, and it also helps you guys, because then you're getting recommended really good study things that we all study tubers genuinely endorse all the products that they use. I've never seen a study tuber do a brand deal that has not been for something genuinely useful, and the companies get promo. So it's a win-win-win, and I'm glad that companies realise how powerful Studytube is in terms of helping people out. The next question is, do you regret branding yourself as a study tuber and wish you could do more varied content? I have spoken to study tubers who have said like, oh, I really wish that I could move out of just doing study with me's like every 10 minutes. And I think Lydia was like that. Lydia was very much, you know, set on doing a bit more wider content, and that's gone down really well. I never really branded myself as a study tuber, as in that is the only thing that this channel is about. Obviously it used to be called Revision with Eve, but when I kind of merged my two channels, that means that now this can kind of be a lifestyle and a study thing. So I do personal Q&As, I do videos with friends, I do more chatty videos about my life as well as study content. So as I was saying earlier about people being invested in the person rather than the studying aspect, you know, people watch my New Year's resolution videos or they watch my update videos because they want to know what's going on with me as a person, but they also watch my revision videos because they want tips and advice. And actually 50% of people that watch my study videos aren't subscribed, so some people do just watch them, you know, the study videos because they're just googling GCSE revision tips. But there is also a big branch of my audience that wants help academically but also liked my old content and likes that too. So I feel like I can post what I want on this channel. Obviously I wouldn't do a makeup tutorial, but I don't want to do a makeup tutorial, so I don't really mind. I don't think that any study tuber is particularly limited. So Lucrezia, for example, does a lot of food videos, so does Holly. Jack does a lot of, you know, like comedy videos, collabs. Eve Cornwell, you know, she can do videos about coffee, or she can do videos about law, and people watch it because people are genuinely interested in the people and not just in revision tips. And yeah, you know, there is an audience that just wants the revision tips, but that's a very small audience, I find, and that tends to be people that aren't subscribed and they're just looking at the videos because they need help short term. So the next question is, do your tutors and lecturers recognise you? I think study tubers have varying degrees of problems with this. So for some people, like the students at their university, it can actually be really horrible and like spread rumours about them and, you know, make fun of them. I definitely get that. I definitely get made fun of. I get like dodgy Oxfesses and I get people in the street being like, oh my god, it's Eve Bennett, or in the club, or like I've heard people bitching about me, or if I run for a position at college they're like, oh, she's only doing it because she's a YouTuber and she thinks that everyone loves her and whatever. But I mean, it doesn't really bother me because I'm like, okay, you do you, honey, like I'm quite enjoying what I'm doing right now. But every study tuber deals with it differently, and every study tuber gets a different amount of slack from people around them. In terms of tutors and lecturers, my tutors all know that I do YouTube, and like my tutors do ask like, how's it going, and they've watched a few of my videos. And yeah, Annabelle, if you're watching, you always said you want to be mentioned in a video, so I don't know if you'll watch this video, but hey. And yeah, so they've all been very like nice about it and just curious. And I've actually worked with the university quite a lot, and you know, they want to know, they want to understand what it's like. And it's a bit of a grey line because you're not supposed to have a job when you're at uni at Oxford, but it's a difficult one because it's like not really a job, but it is also a job because I get paid for it. But yeah, but they've all just been very curious, and none of them have made any horrible comments. Everyone just jokes about it, and I just find it funny. I mean, I've been doing it for 5 years now, so like I'm over the whole embarrassment stage, and I feel like I can't really be embarrassed with it now. Like it's quite a reputable thing that I do, so I'm happy with it. And I don't really care about the students that find it funny, because it's like, okay, you go do you and I'll keep doing what I'm doing and enjoying it. Shah asks, are you friends with everyone in the community, or are some people nasty? There's nobody nasty in the Studytube community. Like, I can genuinely say that. Like, everyone is really nice, and I'm closer to some people than others, but that's not because I dislike people, that's just because you're closer to some people than you are to others. But no, there is not a single nasty person. No, I really can't think of one. There's nobody. Everyone's actually really lovely. So those are all the questions. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I've spilled a little bit of that Studytube tea. But yeah, I hope this has given a wee little insight into what it's like to be a Studytuber. If you've got any more questions, then be sure to leave them down below. If any Studytubers are watching, I hope I've spoken relatively okay on behalf of all of us. Obviously, this is my opinion, and I can't speak for everybody else, but I feel like there are some things that are universal truths that we've kind of all acknowledged, in the words of Pride and Prejudice. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below any video requests you have, because it's a new year and quite frankly, I don't know what you guys want to see. So let me know, and I'll see you very soon with a new video. Bye guys. Mwah.